Okay, let's move on with. We want to talk now about keywords and the process that you go through to get good keywords. Okay, because keywords are critical. As I said before, everything revolves around keywords. So your selection of the right keywords is absolutely critical. And the more you get into this and the more we talk about this today and in future weeks, you'll see why keywords are so critical to your success, and choosing the right ones are going to be so critical to your success. Okay? So this is just kind of a brief overview of what we're going to talk about in great detail next week. We'll show you examples on how to do it, and we'll show you tools that will help you to do it. Okay, but I want to lay down the foundation. This is the process that you go through, or that you should go through, to get good keywords. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start out with what's called a seed list. Okay, you just need some keywords that just kind of will get the ball rolling, and you can think about those. Okay, if you were a customer and you were looking for your widget, what would you type in to the computer? So kind of just create a seed list of some ideas of things that you would type in to find your list, or other words that would get you there. Okay, so once you've got that seed list, and it can be 2 words, 10 words, it can you don't need to get too carried away, but come up with a good seed list of words, keywords that you think people would type in to find your list. Okay, once you've got that list, that seed list, the next thing that you want to do is you want to use some kind of a keyword generation tool. And there are ones that you can buy, that you can pay money for. There are ones that are for free. One of the best free ones out there is actually on Google's website. You would think that they would probably have some good information to generate that from, and we'll actually give you some links to that later on, but here on the page I've listed the link if you can see it. But you can actually go into Google, and it gives you a little box where you type in your seed list, and then it goes out and looks through the internet, and it comes back with, depending upon which keyword tool you use, either 100 or up to 800 similar keywords or related keywords, or it kind of brainstorms for you, and it gives you this huge list of keywords that are out there. And not only does it give you the keyword, but it gives you some information about it, how many people searched on it, and how much competition there is, and those kind of things. So now you've taken your seed list and you've grown a whole garden of keywords. Okay, but just like everything that goes on, we always end up, if your garden looks like my garden, it always ends up with weeds. I have some plants out there, but I end up with weeds, and I don't know why this year, boy. I think I had more weeds than I had plants in my garden. So you don't want to go by my house, or you might be scared by my garden. So the next thing that we need to do with this big list that we've just generated off of our seed list is we need to go through and we need to weed out the things that are not applicable to us. Okay. This list may come back. You've typed in widgets, and you may have widgets used for toilet plungers. And if you're doing dancing widgets, that has nothing to do with you, right? So you don't want to worry about that. So you're going to go through that list one at a time, and you're going to delete any keywords that are not applicable to you or to your product that you do not think will work. Just get rid of those right off the bat, and that'll save you a lot of work later as we go through the process. Okay, you're really refining it down to what you think are the best, most viable keywords. Okay, so just weed it down, keep weeding that list down until you get it narrowed down. And what you'd like to do is you'd like to narrow it down to probably 30, somewhere between 10 and 30 keywords that are still good. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, just depending upon what you want to do. Okay, so then the next thing is you take that weeded list of keywords, and now we're going to analyze them, and we're going to look at them, and we're going to get more details out of them to try to even narrow it down further and to pull out the very best domain name, or the very best keywords. Okay. Now the concept here is we've got two things that we're going to worry about. One is we want to make sure that there are enough people typing it in that it's going to be worth our time to try to get a good listing. If we win the top 10 page on a search keyword that no one ever searches, we win the booby prize. Nothing. And we can spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to get the booby prize, but we don't want to do that. We want to see how many people search on a particular term. And again, the Google AdWords tool will give that back to us. It will tell us how many people search on that keyword every day or every month, so we can see, if it's worth our time. Okay. So what we're looking for and what we recommend is don't mess around with words that have less than 80 per day. Okay. And you can get out your handy-dandy calculator and multiply 80 by 30 days or whatever if you want to come up with a month and go by monthly figures. It depends on where you're getting your data from. But look for, you don't want to mess with less than 80 searches a day, okay? Because those just aren't going to be worth your time to get those keywords. Now the other side of the picture is we don't want to mess around with sites that are too competitive, okay? So if you have lots and lots of competition out there, then it's going to be too hard to get that. And so you want to be careful and not get. I looked at one out there that had over 1 million competing websites for it. Hey, you just don't want to mess with that one because there's too much competition out there. And we'll talk in a minute just a little bit more detail about this competition issue. Okay, some people will take and actually build a spreadsheet, and they'll take the number of searches and they'll divide it by the competition and do a couple other things to it. And they come up with a term called KEI or something like that. So they get a factor, or just a number, it says, because if you got one that has lots of searches, but yet it has a few more competitors, it may be a better keyword to use than if you've got one that has a low number of searches and not quite as low, but less competing sites. So you can look at that as well. But try to pick up, first eliminate from this list that you've got, narrow it down, take out any that are less than 80 searches a day and any that has more than 30,000 competitors, okay? And optimally, you'd like to, at this point, have your list weeded down to 5 to 10 keywords. And we'll show you in more detail next week how to do all this in the real world, and using some tools and some different things that will help you to do that. Okay? So now you've got 5 to 10 good prospects of keywords. Now, before we go into the final step, it's important for us to know some of the basic SEO elements, and you'll understand in a second why it's important to just at least know the basics of these, okay? But there are essentially two kinds of SEO elements that we need to worry about. One term is on-site SEO elements and off-site SEO elements, okay? The on-site SEO elements are how we use the keywords in our pages. Do we have the keyword in our title? How many times do we have the keyword in our text? There are a whole bunch of them, but it's actually how our page is built and how we've used the keywords in these pages. Okay, and this is sort of the simple, dumbed-down version of it. But okay, and we'll go into more detail as time goes on. The other one is what we term as off-site SEO elements. Okay, Google doesn't just look just at your page, it also looks and it tries to determine your popularity. How popular is this? Are you an expert at it? Do other people recognize you as an expert? And Google does that in a number of different ways. One is a term called backlinks. Okay, a backlink is someone pointing to your website, someone having a link on their website to you. Okay. And they look at those backlinks, and they look at the website and where it's coming from, and they give you score points based upon where those are coming from. Okay? For example, if you have a link from some major university's website, they're going to give you lots of score points that will move you up further in the search engines, because a major university with a .edu is a recognized expert in something, and if you've got a site from them, you must be good. Anyway, that's what Google thinks. Okay. Whereas if you get a backlink from somebody's brand new site that doesn't have anything at all out there and doesn't know anything, you're not going to get very many score points for that. So it's important to build good backlinks, and those are important. Okay, you also social networking. If you've got links to your website from social networking and things, those are starting to become more and more important. But links from off-site things that are not actually on your website. Okay, so those are kind of the things that we need to look at just as a general overview of how we're doing SEO. Okay, and that's important to remember as we go into the next step of selecting our keywords. Because what we want to do is we want to choose our battles here. Okay. Would you rather fight with a mean, vicious, grouchy grizzly bear, or would you rather fight with a chipmunk? Which would you rather duke it out? And in SEO, you want to go up against chipmunks. You want to avoid the grizzly bears when you possibly can. So let's talk a little bit about that and what that means. Let's fight chipmunks. So what we need to do is we need to find the chipmunks out there.